I thought I knew everything about Sarah. We had been inseparable since childhood, sharing secrets, dreams, and late-night talks. Or at least, that's what I believed. It all started one ordinary Thursday afternoon. I was scrolling through my phone when a text from an unknown number popped up. "She's hiding something. You need to find out before it's too late." I froze. My heart pounded. I didn't know whether to delete it, panic, or call Sarah immediately. The message made no sense. Who would send me this? And what could Sarah possibly be hiding? I shook my head, trying to ignore it, but my curiosity gnawed at me. By evening, I found myself at Sarah's house, trying to act casual. "Hey, you okay?" she asked, noticing my fidgety hands. I forced a smile. "Yeah, just a weird day, I guess." But something about her expression told me she knew more than she was saying. Her eyes darted nervously to the side, her smile tight. "I have something to tell you," she said hesitantly. My stomach dropped. "What is it?" I asked, heart hammering in my chest. She looked away, biting her lip. "It's complicated. I don't know if I should." "Sarah, whatever it is, we've always shared everything," I said gently. "You can tell me, please." Her hands trembled as she reached for mine. "It's not just about me," she whispered. "It's about everything. And I'm scared. If people find out, it could ruin us, our families, our lives, even your future." I squeezed her hands. "Sarah, you're scaring me. Just tell me. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together." She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. "Okay, but promise me you won't freak out. Promise me you'll stay." I nodded without hesitation. "I promise." She took a deep breath, and with her voice trembling, she whispered the words that would change everything. "I'm pregnant. And it's not yours." Time seemed to stop. My mind couldn't process the words. My best friend. Pregnant. And hiding it from me all this time. "What? How? Why didn't you tell me?" I stammered, my hands shaking. "I didn't know how," she admitted. "I was scared. I didn't want anyone to know, and I didn't know what to do. Please, just don't tell anyone yet. I'm begging you." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "Okay, I won't. But Sarah, we need to figure this out. You can't do this alone." She nodded, relief washing over her face. Thank you for staying." That night, we sat together on her bed, planning, worrying, and crying. I realized then that our friendship would never be the same, but somehow, I knew we could survive this. Somehow, we had to. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. Sarah's secret was a weight I had never carried before. I tried to focus on school, on normal life, but every text, every glance reminded me that our world had changed overnight. At lunch, my friends were chatting about trivial things, fashion, boys, weekend plans, but I barely heard them. My mind was on Sarah, on the tiny life she carried, on the fear in her eyes. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I called her, and she answered immediately. "Hey," she whispered. "I need to know everything," I said. "Who? How? What's going on?" Sarah took a deep breath. "It's Mark, you know, from our summer program last year. We made a mistake. I didn't think it would happen, but it did." I felt my stomach twist. "Okay, so what now?" "I don't know," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I can't tell my parents. I can't tell my family. And I can't even tell yours. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do." I paused, thinking. "Sarah, you're not alone. We'll figure this out together. But you need help. You need someone who can guide you, someone who knows what to do." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm scared, Lily. What if they hate me? What if they take the baby away? What if everything falls apart?" I reached for her hand. "Listen, no one can take your courage. You're not alone anymore. And I promise, whatever happens, I'll be with you." We spent the rest of the day planning in secret. I suggested she see a doctor immediately, to confirm everything and discuss her options safely. She nodded, scared but willing. That evening, we snuck out to the local clinic. Sarah's hands shook as she signed in. I stayed by her side, trying to calm my own nerves. When the doctor confirmed the pregnancy, Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I'm really pregnant," she whispered. "Yes, you are," I said softly, squeezing her hand. "And we'll get through this. Together." Leaving the clinic, we felt both relief and dread. 1,000 questions loomed. How would her parents react? How would Mark respond? How could she carry this secret without destroying everything? But even amidst the fear, I knew one thing with certainty. I wasn't going anywhere. Sarah and I had shared too much, loved too much, and now our bond would be tested like never before. That night, lying in bed, I whispered into the darkness, "Whatever comes, I've got your back, Sarah. Always." And I knew this promise wasn't just words, it was a vow that would define our friendship, our choices, and the next chapter of our lives. The following week was a blur of nerves and whispered conversations. Sarah tried to act normal at school, but I could see it in her eyes. She was constantly on edge, afraid someone would notice, afraid someone would ask the wrong question. I stayed close, walking beside her in the hallways, sharing lunch, and always keeping an eye out for any hint of suspicion. But even with my support, the weight of her secret was eating at her. One afternoon, as we sat in the library, she finally broke down. "I can't do this, Lily. I can't pretend everything's normal. People are starting to notice. They whisper, stare, I feel like I'm drowning." I pulled her into a hug. "Shush, it's okay. We'll get through this. You're not alone." "But what if my parents find out? What if Mark doesn't want to take responsibility? What if I ruin everything?" "You're not ruining anything," I said firmly. "We'll figure out Mark. We'll figure out your parents. And most importantly, we'll figure out what's best for you and the baby." Later that evening, Sarah received a text from Mark. I could see the fear flash across her face as she read it. "We need to talk. Now." I felt my stomach drop. This was the first time he had reached out seriously, and I didn't know what to expect. We met him at a nearby cafe. He looked nervous, fidgeting with his coffee cup. "Sarah, we need to figure this out," he said, his voice low. "I know," she replied, trying to sound composed. I stayed silent, observing, my hand subtly brushing against hers for reassurance. He looked at me, then back at her. "Lily, I know you're her friend, and I appreciate that. But, this is serious. We need to make decisions, fast." Sarah swallowed hard. "I know. I'm scared." "You're not alone," I said softly. "We're here. We'll help you through this." Mark hesitated, looking unsure. For a moment, it seemed like the weight of reality hit him. He nodded slowly. Okay, we'll figure it out." Leaving the cafe, I glanced at Sarah. Her hands trembled as she held onto mine. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll never have to find out," I said, smiling. "We're in this together, every step of the way." That night, lying in bed, I reflected on the chaos that had entered our lives. It was terrifying, overwhelming, and completely life-changing, but through it all, I realized something important. True friendship wasn't just about sharing happy moments. It was about standing by someone when everything felt impossible. And no matter what came next, I was ready to face it, with Sarah, with Mark, and with the new life that had just begun to grow between them. Over the next few days, Sarah and I tried to navigate this new, delicate reality. Every day felt like walking on a tightrope. She couldn't reveal her secret to anyone yet, not her parents, not our teachers, not even our closest friends. Every glance, every whisper, felt like it could expose her. One afternoon, as we sat in her bedroom planning our next steps, her phone buzzed again. Another message from Mark. "I need to see you. Alone." Her hands trembled as she showed it to me. "He wants to talk, without me having backup." "I don't know what to do, Lily." I took a deep breath. "You have to go. You can't avoid him forever." "But, I'll be nearby. If anything feels wrong, I'll be right there." She nodded reluctantly, fear in her eyes. Okay, thank you." A few hours later, Sarah returned, her face pale and tense. It's complicated. He said he wants to support me, but he's scared too. And, he thinks we need to involve our parents soon." I swallowed hard. "Then we need a plan. We can't let panic take over. We need to tell them in a way that's safe, controlled, and gives Sarah the support she needs." We spent the night drafting a strategy: who would be present, what we would say, and how to manage reactions. It was exhausting, but necessary. The next morning, Sarah's parents noticed her unusual quietness and asked to speak privately. My heart raced as we sat in the living room. "Mom, Dad, I have something important to tell you," Sarah began, her voice shaking. I squeezed her hand. "It's okay, Sarah. We're here." Tears welled up in her eyes as she finally whispered the truth. "I'm pregnant." For a moment, the room was silent. Then, her mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Her father's face turned pale, then softened with concern. "Sarah, oh, Sarah," her mother murmured, rushing to hug her. "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" "I was scared," Sarah admitted. "I didn't know how. I didn't want anyone to hate me or think I ruined everything." Her father sat down, taking her hand. We don't hate you. We love you. And we'll support you. Whatever you decide, we're here. I exhaled, relief flooding me. The truth had come out, and instead of judgment, it was met with love. That evening, Sarah and I sat in her room, the weight of secrecy lifted. I can't believe it, she whispered. They actually love me, even now. I smiled. They'll always love you. And now, you're not facing this alone. We've got this, together. For the first time in weeks, Sarah smiled genuinely. And I realized that sometimes the hardest part is facing the truth. But the reward is freedom, understanding, and the unwavering strength of those who truly care. With Sarah's secret finally out, a wave of relief swept over both of us, but the challenges were far from over. Life seemed determined to test her, and our friendship, at every turn. School became a new battlefield. Rumors spread faster than wildfire, and whispers followed us down every hallway. Some friends acted like nothing had changed, while others stared or avoided us entirely. Sarah's confidence wavered, and I knew I had to be her anchor. One afternoon, as we sat under the big oak tree behind the school, she buried her face in her hands. They're looking at me like I'm broken, she whispered. I shook my head firmly. No one gets to define you but you. You're strong, Sarah. Stronger than anyone here. And I'll remind you of that every single day. A few weeks later, Mark finally stepped up. He came to the school to meet us after classes, looking nervous but determined. Sarah, Lily, I want to be part of this, he said quietly. I don't know everything yet, but I know I need to be here. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. You mean, you're serious? He nodded. Completely. We'll figure this out together. No running, no hiding. I felt a surge of hope. Finally, the person responsible was taking accountability. It was more than Sarah had dared to hope for, and it made everything feel possible. But just as things seemed to be stabilizing, Sarah's health took an unexpected turn. One evening, she fainted during dinner at her house, sending her parents into a panic. I rushed over, terrified. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed that Sarah was experiencing complications with the pregnancy and needed immediate care. My heart sank. Fear clawed at me. The thought of losing her, or worse, the baby, was unbearable. I held her hand tightly. I'm right here, Sarah. You're not alone. We'll get through this. She looked at me, tears streaking her face. I don't want to lose him, or lose you. You won't, I whispered, gripping her hand. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be with you every step of the way. The night in the hospital was long, filled with fear, waiting, and whispered reassurances. But through it all, our bond grew stronger. In facing fear together, we realized that friendship could survive even the darkest moments. When Sarah finally stabilized, and the doctors assured her that the baby was safe, we both cried tears of relief. As we left the hospital, I hugged her tightly. We've survived this, and we'll survive everything else that comes. She nodded, smiling through her exhaustion. I don't know what I'd do without you. I smiled back. You'll never have to find out. I'm staying. Always. After Sarah's hospital scare, life slowed down a little. The chaos of rumors and whispers still lingered at school, but now there was a sense of purpose and focus. Sarah had to prioritize her health and the baby, and I had to stay close, helping her navigate everything. We spent weekends at her house, talking through plans for the future. College, jobs, Mark's role, everything seemed overwhelming. But step by step, we made lists, mapped out possibilities, and tried to think practically. One afternoon, while Sarah napped, I sat by the window, reflecting on everything that had happened. It felt surreal that just a few months ago, her pregnancy had been a secret, a terrifying unknown. Now, it was a reality we were preparing for, facing it together with courage. The next challenge came in the form of Mark's parents. They had learned about the pregnancy and were upset, not at Sarah, but at their son. The first meeting with them was tense. Mark's father, stern and serious, looked at Sarah and said, "We didn't expect this. But we want to do the right thing. We just need time to understand everything." His mother added, "Sarah, we know you didn't plan this, but we will support you if you allow it. Please, let us help." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Really. I squeezed her hand under the table, proud of how composed she was. Despite fear and uncertainty, she was standing tall, facing the challenges instead of running from them. At school, the whispers hadn't stopped completely, but Sarah walked with confidence now. She refused to let rumors define her. I stood by her side, every day, every class, reminding her that strength came from within, and support came from those who truly cared. One evening, after a long day of classes and appointments, Sarah and I sat on her bed, exhausted. "You know, Lily," she said quietly, "I don't know what I would have done without you. I felt so alone, so scared, but you've been my anchor." I smiled, brushing her hair from her face. "You're not alone anymore. And you won't be, ever. No matter what comes, we'll face it together." She laughed softly through her tears. "I guess this makes us more than best friends now, huh?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "We're a team. No one can break us." And for the first time in months, the weight of fear lifted. Together, we were ready to face the future, uncertain as it was. Together, we had the courage to navigate every twist and turn. Together, we were unstoppable. As the pregnancy progressed, Sarah and I began preparing for the inevitable changes. Baby clothes, doctor's visits, and careful diets became a part of our routine. Mark was slowly learning responsibility, attending appointments and asking questions he had never considered before. One day, we decided to tell a few of our closest friends, those we trusted the most. The meeting was nerve-wracking. Would they be angry, judgmental, or would they support us? We gathered in my living room, the tension palpable. Sarah spoke first, her voice shaky but determined. "I know this is a lot. I didn't plan it, but I need my friends, and I need your support." Our friends exchanged glances, then one by one, stepped forward with smiles and hugs. "We're here for you," one whispered. Another said, "Whatever you need, count on us." I felt a huge weight lift. Support wasn't just about family, it was about friends too. Together, we could face anything. The weeks that followed were a mix of small victories and new challenges. Sarah's energy fluctuated. Some days she felt strong, others completely drained. I stayed by her side, helping with schoolwork, keeping her company, and even managing small errands for her. One afternoon, Sarah pulled me aside, looking serious. "Lily, I need to tell you something else. I think Mark and I are going to argue. I don't know how he'll react." I nodded, trying to stay calm. "We'll handle it together. Just tell me what happens, and we'll find a solution." Later, Mark confronted Sarah about finances and responsibilities. The argument was tense, but we mediated quietly, reminding both of them to communicate calmly. Eventually, they reached a compromise, and I could see relief in Sarah's eyes. That night, Sarah hugged me tightly. "I don't know what I'd do without you. Seriously, Lily, I owe you everything." "You don't owe me anything," I said softly. "We're in this together. Always." As I walked home, I realized how much had changed in just a few months. From secrets and fear to support and preparation, life had taken a turn neither of us expected, but somehow, it felt right. And I knew one thing for certain. No matter how hard the road ahead, with Sarah, with Mark, and with our friends standing by, we could face it. As the pregnancy entered the final trimester, the reality of the baby's arrival became unavoidable. Sarah and I spent countless hours preparing the nursery, buying tiny clothes, and imagining what life would be like when the baby finally arrived. Mark, although still learning, grew more responsible with every passing day. He attended prenatal classes with Sarah, asked questions, and even took notes. It was strange, seeing the boy who had seemed so carefree and immature become someone ready to step into responsibility. One evening, after a long day, Sarah and I sat on her bed, exhausted but happy. "I'm scared," she admitted softly, her hand resting on her belly. I took her hand, squeezing it gently. "It's normal to be scared. But you're not alone. We'll get through this together. And Mark, he's learning too. He'll step up." She smiled faintly. "I hope so. I really hope so." The days passed in a blur of doctor visits, schoolwork, and planning. Friends helped in small ways, bringing meals, organizing baby showers in secret, and offering encouragement. It was a strange mixture of joy and anxiety, but slowly, everything started to feel manageable. Then came the unexpected. Sarah went into early labor one Friday night. The panic was immediate. I called her parents, called Mark, and rushed to the hospital. Her fear was palpable, and I stayed by her side, holding her hand, whispering encouragement. "You're strong," I said. "You can do this. I'm right here." Mark arrived, looking terrified but determined. "I'm here," he whispered. "We're in this together." The labor was long and grueling. There were moments of doubt, moments of fear, and moments when we didn't know if everything would be okay. But with each contraction, each tear, each word of encouragement, we held on. Finally, after hours that felt like an eternity, the baby arrived. A tiny, perfect little boy, crying loudly, demanding life. Sarah wept, exhausted and overwhelmed, and I held her close. "He's beautiful," she whispered. Mark, tears streaming down his face, reached for the baby. "We did it," he said, voice cracking. "We made it." And in that moment, everything fell into place. The fear, the secrecy, the challenges, they all seemed worth it. A new life had begun, and we had survived together. As I looked at Sarah holding her son, I realized that life could change in an instant. But through loyalty, friendship, and love, even the darkest secrets could lead to something beautiful. The hospital room was filled with the soft cries of the newborn, the quiet sobs of relief from Sarah, and the gentle whispers of love from Mark. I sat quietly beside them, letting the moment sink in. It was surreal. After all the fear, all the secrets, all the chaos, here we were. A family, fragile but real. Sarah looked at me, exhaustion and happiness mingling on her face. "Lily, I don't know how to thank you. You've been my rock through all of this." I smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You don't need to thank me. You're my best friend. We do this together. Always." Mark, holding the baby, nodded. "Yeah, Lily, you've been amazing. I don't know if I could have handled any of this without you." I laughed softly, shaking my head. "Don't give me that credit. You both fought through your fears. I just stayed by your side." The next few days were a whirlwind of hospital visits, family meetings, and the constant learning curve of being new parents. Sarah's parents visited often, holding their grandson with trembling hands and overwhelmed smiles. Mark's parents softened too, offering cautious support, learning to navigate their son's newfound responsibility. One quiet evening, after everyone had left, Sarah and I sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker outside. She held her son close, humming softly. "I still can't believe he's here," she whispered. I nodded. "It's real now. And you're doing amazing, Sarah. You're a mom." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without you. I don't know what I'd have done if you hadn't been there for me through everything, the fear, the secrets, everything." "You'd have survived," I said softly. "But I'm glad I was here. That's all that matters." We laughed softly, the sound mingling with the baby's gentle breathing. For the first time in months, there was peace. Not perfect peace. Life had never promised that. But a deep, enduring sense that together, we could handle anything. Mark joined us, sitting on the bed and wrapping his arms around both Sarah and the baby. "We're a family now," he said quietly. "Yes," Sarah whispered, resting her head against him. "A real family." And I knew, in that quiet moment, that the chaos, fear, and secrets had led to something beautiful. A reminder that even in the hardest moments, love and loyalty could carry us through. Weeks passed, and life slowly settled into a new rhythm. Sarah, Mark, and their baby had found a fragile but strong balance, learning to navigate sleepless nights, diaper changes, and the emotional rollercoaster of parenthood. I stayed close, always available, helping with the little things and offering emotional support whenever it was needed. One Saturday morning, the three of them invited me over for breakfast. The kitchen smelled of pancakes and coffee, and laughter filled the room. The baby gurgled happily in his high chair, reaching for a spoon. "Lily, come sit," Sarah called, a bright smile lighting up her face. I joined them at the table, feeling warmth spread through me. This was what we had fought for: love, honesty, and the chance to build a life despite fear and secrets. Mark looked at me, grinning sheepishly. "You've been incredible through all of this. Honestly, I don't know how we would have done it without you." I shrugged, smiling. "I just stayed by my best friend. That's all." Sarah reached across the table, holding my hand. "You're more than that, Lily. You're family. Always." The baby kicked his little feet, squealing in delight, and I laughed, realizing that the chaos of the past months had led to this. Moments of pure, unfiltered joy. Later, as we sat on the living room couch, Sarah leaned her head against my shoulder. "You know, I was terrified at first. Terrified of what everyone would think, terrified of ruining my life. But now, I can't imagine doing this without you." "You never will," I whispered. "I'm not going anywhere. You've got me, through everything." Mark joined us on the couch, wrapping an arm around both of us. "We're in this together now. All of us. No more secrets, no more fear." As the afternoon sun streamed through the window, I realized how much had changed. A secret that had once threatened to destroy friendships and lives had become a catalyst for love, unity, and growth. Sarah had faced her fears, Mark had stepped up, and together, they had created a new life. And in the quiet moments, as I watched them laugh and care for each other, I knew one thing for certain. True friendship, the kind that withstands fear, judgment, and chaos, could survive anything. Life wasn't perfect, and the road ahead would bring more challenges, but together, they were unstoppable. The secret that once haunted us had led to something far greater: love, family, and an unbreakable bond that would last a lifetime. And as I held the baby in my arms for the first time, feeling his tiny fingers wrap around mine, I whispered softly, "We did it, Sarah. We made it through. Together." For the first time, everything felt right.